to Israel. They're unable to tell us what these licenses are. They're unable to tell us what the material they're supplying would do. And they continue to tell us that there are 300 more licenses still in operation. And so my message to the British government is this. If you continue supplying weapons, knowing full well that those bombs are going to fall on people's homes and hospitals, are going to kill children and many more, if you continue supplying those weapons, knowing that they're being used for the illegal invasion of Lebanon and the bombing of Beirut, if you continue supplying those weapons, knowing they're going to be used to bomb Yemen and increasingly to bomb Iran as well, and you will know full well what the views are of the International Court of Justice, the International Criminal Court, the UN General Assembly, and the vast majority of the nations of the world, and you know what the views of the people of the world are about this conflict, then you are two things. One, on the wrong side of history. Two, complicit in acts of genocide against the Palestinian people. And when we quite rightly demand the end of the arms supplies, we're actually challenging one of the most powerful institutions around the world, and that is the global lobbying power of the arms industries, to divert governments, to pollute our politics and supply weapons, knowing full well it is illegal what they're doing and it's wholly innocent individuals who are being killed as a result of it. And so our message today here outside the US Embassy is this. Your government is the main supplier of weapons to Israel. The British government is complicit in organising and helping that supply, and I'd be very interested to know exactly what all those planes are doing, taking off and landing at the Royal Air Force Base at Akrotiri in Cyprus. And I want to know what those surveillance flights over Gaza have actually been doing and where the information has gone to. Likewise, the surveillance flights over Lebanon and other places. But to the United States, I say two things. One is to the American people that have been on occupations in campuses, that have marched in their tens of thousands in Chicago, in New York, in San Francisco, in Los Angeles, in Houston, and many, many other cities. We are with you. Our solidarity is with you. You go in the great traditions of the American people. The American people who stood up for humanity and stood up to oppose their government over the ghastly war in Vietnam. You are in that great tradition of those that stood up for the civil rights movement and stood up for real justice in your country. And I say to the two presidential candidates, to Donald Trump and Kamala Harris, in your hands lies the future. In your hands lies the determination of what will happen. Are you going to listen to the 60% of American people who say they're deeply concerned about Gaza? Or are you going to do what so many American presidents have done and simply bow down before the arms industry and give them the carte blanche they want to continue the supply of these ghastly weapons of high-tech mass destruction? And just think about this. High-tech weapons, laser-guided bombs, brilliantly conceived, brilliantly manufactured, raining down on people living under canvas, raining down on children. 40,000 already dead, tens of thousands more under the rubble, and now tens of thousands at risk in Lebanon. We are going to be here, and this is my final message. We are going to be here, week in, week out, month in, month out, as long as it takes. We will not ever walk away from the people of Palestine. Thank you.
From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea! Our next two speakers are from the White Kite Collective, a grassroots group creating urgent events to bear witness and support Palestinians facing genocide. The first is Luca Chaplin, a Palestinian British actor based in London. And the second is Stephanie Shapiro-Vidoso, a climate cultural worker, artist, and activist from South London. Please put your hands together for the both of them. From South Lebanon.
We should not be here today. Maybe we should be in my village of Mes El Jabal, South Lebanon, enjoying our olive harvest, freely walking over barely a handful of meters into Palestine. Instead, our homes are being looted by the Zionist entity's army, then blown up using the latest genocidal technologies, courtesy of the imperialist core. These are weapons designed to pulverize our people's flesh into dust so that we can't even bury them with dignity. In order to endure this pain, we seek refuge in poetry and in words. Words are impossible to eliminate, and the inhumane, cowardly acts of censorship will soon be irrelevant. From Jabalia in North Gaza to my Mes El Jabal in South Lebanon, our reunion and absolute liberation will manifest beyond our imaginaries. Take these words as yours. Let each breath of our people galvanize you into escalating each and every action. Rise! Escalate! 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 This is a poem by Daniel Smith. He calls them children of darkness, and being one myself, having been plucked from between stars, having been born again in the dark, dark bellies of those ships, delivered as cargo onto the suffocating light of America, I find my kin. Human animals, he called them. And having been ape, been dog, been mongrel, cattle, then culled, I knew who was my brother. This late in empire, late meaning near its end, not near its completion. Let my language be clear and dangerous as water. Let my mind's tongue move sound, be exact with where venom is intended and where light sought. Free Palestine, said the birds. Free Palestine, said the fish. Free Palestine, said the mice. Free Palestine, said the mountain lions. Free Palestine, said the cattle. Free Palestine, said the wolves. Free Palestine, said the horses. Free Palestine, said the bats. Free Palestine, said the elephants. Free Palestine, said the deer. Free Palestine, said the squirrels. Free Palestine, said the bears. Animals, he called them animals. Free Palestine, said the wild beasts. Free Palestine, said the geckos. Said the snakes. Said the dogs and cats. Said the bees. Said the spiders. Said the ants. Said the rhinoceros, said the birds again. Nature, I hear your prayer, see your terror. I know my teeth. Free, free.
Assalamu alaikum. The earth is closing in on us. By Mahmoud Darwish. The earth is closing in on us, pushing us through the last passage, and we tear off our limbs to pass through. The earth is squeezing us. I wish we were its wheat, so we could die and live again. I wish the earth was our mother, so she'd be kind to us. I wish we were pictures on the rocks for our dreams to carry as mirrors. We saw the face of those who would throw our children out of the window of this last space. Our song will hang up mirrors. Where should we go after the last frontier? Where should the birds fly after the last shine? Where should the plants sleep after the last breath of air? We will write our names with scarlet steel. We will cut off the hand of the song to be finished by our flesh. We will die here in the last passage. Here and here, our blood will plant its olive tree. Free Palestine!
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! In our thousands, in our millions! In our thousands, in our millions! And in our millions, in our billions! Our next speaker is here representing the Muslim Association of Britain. They're one of the key organisers of today's demonstration. So please, please give a very warm welcome to Ragaz al-Discreeti. Brothers, sisters, friends, Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you all. Today we come together to remember the genocide in Gaza is not a recent tragedy. It has roots in over a century of attacks on Palestinian identity and rights, starting with the Bלפור Declaration of 1917. This document, created by a colonial power, sparked a long history of dispossession by supporting a homeland for one group on land already inhabited by another. More than 100 years later, this mandate has turned into decades of occupation and siege, an unending effort to erase Palestinian presence and resistance. Gaza stands as a powerful symbol of this painful history. A people trapped in one of the world's most crowded places, suffering under constant bombardment and siege. From Arthur Bלפור to David Lammy, British foreign secretaries have played a role in the colonization and ethnic cleansing of Palestinians. Bלפור's declaration set the stage for the removal of Palestinians from their homeland. Governments upon governments have continued this pattern, supporting the Israeli colonial regime, whilst in the same breath calling for peace. They provide arms and diplomatic support to the occupiers, allowing violations of international law to go unpunished. Today, leaders like Lammy and Starmer keep this tradition alive, failing to call ethnic cleansing what it is, a crime born from colonial policy. As we stand here
On the 107th anniversary of the Bלפור Declaration and the 392nd day of genocide in Lغزة, we must remember that powerful empires of the past have eventually fallen. We must remember that powerful empires of the past have eventually fallen. This shows us that power built on oppression and violence is never lasting. The architects of this atrocity want us to believe that our present reality is the only possible future, urging us to accept the status quo, see in injustice as normal. Yet, we must not limit our aspirations to the narrow vision imposed by global powers that enable this genocide. We know, believe, and fight for a future free from the apartheid wall, administrative detention, refugee camps from the suffocating grip of settlements, the constant buzzing of F-16s and skies filled with bombs that dismember Palestinian bodies. We envision a liberated Palestine where Palestinians can live and travel from Rafah to the beaches of Akka, from the burning mountains of Haifa to the historic streets of Nablus, a future rich with dignity, autonomy, and belonging. This dream is not only possible, it is a moral imperative we must tirelessly pursue, defying the narratives of those who wish to see it extinguished. In the face of overwhelming oppression, our collective struggle for justice will carve a path towards liberation. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Thank you so much. In our thousands, in our millions! In our thousands, in our millions! And across the world, in our millions, in our billions! Our next speaker is here today representing the thousands of Jewish people in Britain who have joined the Jewish bloc on all 22 of the national demonstrations for peace, justice and freedom in Palestine. Please give an especially warm welcome to Marion Roberts. Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm proud to be standing on this platform representing the Jewish bloc. We do say the word genocide, even if David Lammy can't bring himself to. This genocide is not done in our name. We hear horror upon horror about the siege in northern Gaza, hospitals destroyed, the only surgeon in the Indonesian hospital arrested, and brutal massacres. 100,000 people deprived of the basic necessities of life. And the situation will only get much, much worse when Israel bans UNRWA from delivering aid. And meanwhile, less reported, the Zionist project of ethnic cleansing in the West Bank continues. As Mustafa Barghouti commented on Al Jazeera, Israel's plans to annex and Judaize the West Bank aren't hidden. Only this week, the Israeli army invaded Kebrى and caused severe destruction in the Nur Shams refugee camp. Our JVL blog has excruciating accounts from Masafah Yatta, where settlers and the Israeli army are harassing and intimidating Palestinian farmers out of their homes and their lands. The word home
and the concept of homeland are particularly loaded on this day, the anniversary of the Bלפור Declaration. The Declaration committing to give Jews a national home in the lands of Palestine set in process the settler colonial project we see today. Ilan Pappé reminds us that Bלפור was anti-Semitic in motivation, and one of his objectives was to stop poor Jews from Eastern Europe, Jews like my mother's parents, from coming to Britain. The war crimes committed by Israel are so plain to see that it beggars belief that sections of the Jewish population still manage to defend them. I see the spectacle of Chief Rabbi Ephraim Mervis criticising the Labour government for suspending a mere 10% of British-made arms exports to Israel. And then the complaint from the Board of Deputies of British Jews that pro-Palestinian protests like these are allowed, and I quote, under the guise of humanitarian concern. No Board of